and welcome to the Development and Finance Committee meeting for the Housing and Opportunities Commission. Today is Friday, April 17, 2026. I am Commissioner Jeff Merkowitz, joined today by my colleagues on my left, Commissioner Robin Solomon, and to my right, Commissioner Jonathan Miller. Also joining us today virtually is President Chelsea Andrews, and here in person is Executive Vice President Kayreen Brown, as well as additional staff. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from our open and closed session meetings from March 17th, 2026.
I move to accept the minutes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The minutes are approved. Thank you. First up among our action items is a development plan and funding, or interim development plan and funding for major amendments to the site plan submission for Elizabeth Square. We can get live updates by looking out the window. And I will turn it over to President Chelsea Andrews to kick us off.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, and the HOC team. Commissioners, as you know, our beloved Elizabeth House is in the process of being demolished, but is prime real estate in our square for future development. In order to ensure that we're able to advance development in the future, there are steps that we have to take now. And what you will hear from our real estate team are what some of those steps are. And so I'd like to turn it over to Jay Shepard, who's been leading this process for us, to provide more information and our recommendations for next steps.
Good morning, and thank you, Chelsea, President Andrews, and good morning, commissioners. For the record, my name is Jay Shepard. I'm a housing acquisition manager in real estate development, and I'll walk you through the slides related to this request. As you mentioned, you can look out your window and see some of the progress and previous progress that's been occurring there at the Elizabeth Square site. This site has been in the works for 10 years. It envisioned multiple phases of concurrent development, which meant as one comes down, another immediately goes up. And as this may or may not be practically feasible on any given large, phased, multi-pronged development, interim site plans are utilized to bridge that time between these phases. And we're at one of those junctures now. As construction plans for the phase 4, which will replace Elizabeth House proper, have yet to be developed and or approved for implementation, Montgomery County's planning department assumed we'd have filed an interim site plan that would address these conditions or their conditions of the site immediately following the demolition of Elizabeth House. And so today you'll hear from me, staff, that we're requesting funding to proceed with two requirements of that plan post-demolition. First is to complete a right-of-way abandonment and site aggregation that was spelled out in the preliminary plan, and then secondly, approval of an interim site plan for the site. So firstly, I'll address the right-of-way abandonment condition. This is slide 5, the next slide. This is, again, a condition that's spelled out in our preliminary plan as condition 3. It requires the county council abandon its portion of public right-of-way as identified as parcels 1, 2, and 3 at the top of the colored portions here on the slide. As Fenwick Lane and 2nd Avenue intersection has been reconfigured over time, the locations of the actual travel lanes relocated. And therefore the subject right-of-ways have been ceased to be used for roadway purposes. Instead, the area has become used for other public purposes such as utility lines, temporary parking, and drop-off for the Elizabeth House building. Parcels 1 and 2 are subject only to prior roadway dedications. Those are the top 2 parcels, blue and green. And those were previous dedications. And so in order to revert those back to the site, they had to go through a right-of-way abandonment petition that was filed under petition AB 758. And staff did start that. We submitted it and are working now to complete that. Once that is approved and completed, parcel 3, the brown section there, which was originally acquired in fee simple as part of the right-of-way expansion by the county, that'll be subject to a fee conveyance from DGS to HOC. And I'll say they've been, exceptionally cooperative in working with HOC in these efforts to affect these types of transfers. If we look at slide 6, slide 6 discusses that fact that, again, as I mentioned, construction plans for the site have not been developed or approved yet. And so we are requesting funding to cover 2 things. One is a market study viability assessment of the proposed, the increase in zoning allowance that the county had approved for the site. And so we wanted to assess the viability and commitment of that, but also to take during this time between when the Elizabeth House is down and when a new building potentially would be built, that time would be an interim site plan. And so we need to address that plan promptly. And that addresses issues of concern for various government departments, like the Department of Permitting Services, zoning compliance, and planning, all required a finished stabilized site as it relates to stormwater management and sediment control, as well as public safety and overall access from 2nd Avenue to the new aquatic center for pedestrians. Staff are concurrently working to see if a small area of the site can accommodate some on-site parking. That could be HOC overflow parking. But all in all, staff believe the best approach here is to work with county officials on developing an interim plan that addresses the goals, especially for any extended period, and work together to transform the area into a positive of varying degrees of enhancement. Therefore, staff will continue to engage with the county DGS regarding an appropriate solution for all parties. The next slide, slide 7, shows our budget projections for the upcoming requirements. With a project of this magnitude and duration, as I mentioned, it's been 10 years that we've been working on this. Legal Land Use Council and Site Civil Engineering have been engaged to assist us in these pursuits over that decade. Further commission authorization and additional funding is required to continue using these key specialists. So Lurch, Early, and Brewer as Land Use Council, and Rogers Consulting as Site Engineering, Civil Engineering. And staff are recommending both of those because of their intimate knowledge of the site. Slide 8 are past actions related to just phase 4 for the site. And then finally, the last slide, to effectuate these actions, staff is seeking the support of the Development and Finance Committee today to the Commission for a budget of $886,000. That would be funded from the PNC Bank RELOC line of credit to secure those primarily those 2 things: right-of-way abandonment, interim site plan related costs, and then also a small cost for the market feasibility study determining the next phase of the building. So thank you so much. We were happy to take any questions that you may have at this time.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. I'm not sure who to address the question to, but Karen, if you could talk, I know we talked a little bit about it, but talk about the market study.
Good morning. For the record, I'm Karen Brown, Senior Executive Vice President. So we have been discussing what's possible on the site once the original Elizabeth House 1 is taken down. And it is not for certain at this time what the market can absorb. And so the purpose of the market study is to evaluate the Silver Spring market as it relates to that site, and to determine can the market absorb a new big building as it's zoned right now for 319 units. And so that is the purpose of the study. And then we'll come back to the commission and have discussions around the what and the when, and make some recommendations to you about what HOC should be doing with that site. So in order to make any of those decisions going forward, we need to understand the market and what's possible, what it can absorb, and especially given the current state of the construction market and financial markets. So that is the plan.
All right. Are there additional
Just to
questions?
follow up on that, that's helpful. And timing for that study?
The timing is now. We will be undertaking that study as soon as we are approved to expend. the
I'm
proceeds.
sorry.
How long will it take?
Yeah.
30, 60, 90 days. We want to be comprehensive and thorough and ensure that we're looking at all aspects of the market, not just this corner, but, you know,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
a little
The
bit
market,
wider.
the
Yeah,
market,
sub-markets, but also looking at what's happening in Montgomery County, because it's, you know, what happens in Silver Spring has some relationship with what happens in the wider market, because there's construction going on around, and, you
Oh,
know, folks are
absolutely. Yeah.
transient and will move, you know, for what's in their best interest. So we want to make sure that what we're doing, you know, what we're building, if we do decide to build, will be successful.
And obviously, you've got to make a number of educated guesses about what the future is going to look like. I mean, we're in a sort of an unusual
Mhm.
time right now, and who knows, you know, so I guess it's very difficult to make those kinds of decisions, but I guess that will be part of the
Right,
study,
and
presumably.
we do have anecdotal evidence about what's going on around us as well. So we'll factor those into the information that we receive.
Thank you very much.
You know, predictions are hard, especially about the future.
Yeah.
So,
The construction period, once you finally get there, it'd be years, right? So,
Yes.
you know, what report you get in 30, 90 days is the best you got, but who the heck knows, right? You could go to war again. So it's inherently risky. But anyway, that's not a criticism, just an effect.
Right.
I don't have any questions.
if there are no additional questions, can I get a motion to support the staff's recommendation and send this to the full commission?
A motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is our annual approval to issue some additional bond resolutions for single-family mortgages, and I will turn it over to President Andrews to kick us off.
Yes, thank you, commissioners. This particular item is one that is directly related to our strategic plan goals of supporting home ownership in our county. It is a great resource that we are able to provide in terms of ensuring that homeowners, first-time homeowners, have an opportunity to buy in our county. And as you know, year over year, this resource is fully leveraged by residents, and we're just happy to be able to offer this type of support in home ownership. In the future, you'll hear, especially during my president reports, updates in terms of the additional home ownership initiatives that are underway, and the response has been quite positive from those who have been attending our different home ownership education series, etc. But this is step one. This is one of the ways that we make sure that we are able to support first-time home buyers with low-cost mortgages. And so with that, I'd like to turn it over to our mortgage finance team led by Michael Somerville to provide you with this presentation.
Great. Thank you, President Andrews. For the record, my name is Michael Somerville, Vice President of Mortgage Finance. As President Andrews stated, we are presenting you a request for the approval of the structure, cost of issuance budget, and the adoption of resolutions for the issuance of single-family mortgage revenue bond series 2026 A and B. So on slide 3, in 1979, we created the Single Family Mortgage Purchase Program, or as we refer to it, the MPP, which allows us to issue bonds that support single-family first-time home buyers in the county. And then in 2019, we added the ability to purchase mortgage-backed securities under the same program. So with this annual request related specifically to 2026, we're going to be doing a replacement refunding. So we refund bonds. We do those in January as well as July. And January, we had approximately 2.7 in refundings, and we're anticipating an additional 2.8 million that will occur on July 1st. And as part of that, we have a limit of 5 million to be able to use the PNC line for these refundings. We're going to be asking for a temporary increase to allow us to handle those refundings until we complete this issuance that will occur in July. We're also anticipating this will generate about $30 million in new bonds, 20 million of which will be under our tax-exempt volume cap limit. So this will allow us to take advantage of our volume cap, but also allow us to have sufficient funds and volume cap remaining to support our multifamily initiatives. Next slide, please. So currently we're envisioning about 30 million in issuance. However, given the volatility in the market, we're anticipating the potential to be able to increase that up to 35 million. The major difference would be we'd issue additional taxable bonds to and keep the volume cap at 20 million. Next slide, please. Presentation. It's the wrong deck. So for you have to forgive me, the presentation on the screen is slightly different than the one we've been working with. So to give you an idea, that, as I indicated, the major difference between the two issuances is the level of taxable bonds. In this case, this is unfortunately an inaccurate example, but we would be issuing a total of under the tax exempt, it's 25.5, but only 20 million of that would be our against our volume cap, and then the 4.5 million would be under the taxable. And if we can go to the next slide, please. So unfortunately, this indicates 7 million in replacement funding. We are targeting right now 5.5 million in replacement funding that would occur. And we would have led to proceeds of about 29.4 million available to support our lending activity, both in terms of issuing new single-family loans as well as purchasing the mortgage-backed securities. With this, we will require we'll have to do a TEFRA notice as we've run out of TEFRA capacity under the previous authority that was done 2 years ago, and we'll be filing for that to permit the additional issuances.
I mean, to whom we apply for that authority?
It goes through the county. We do a posting, so we'll post onto the internet. We'll hold a TEFRA hearing that's open to the public for any public comment to fulfill that requirement under the Tax Act. So next slide, please. So this example shows the $30 million issuance, the cost of funds, cost of issuance cost, which is about $560,000, which has been a slight increase from previous years, about 10,000, but it's remained fairly constant. In the event we pursue a $35 million cost of issuance, this will climb to $610,000, and that's due to certain variable costs that are just directly related to the size of the issuance.
Michael, what does takedown mean for 225,000?
The takedown relates to that we pay to the
underwriter?
Underwriters, yes.
So it's underwriter fee,
Yeah.
et
Yes.
cetera.
It's just the way we phrase it.
I knew there was an easy answer. I just didn't, wasn't familiar with takedown.
And if we could skip to slide 9, please. So this is the projected schedule, which is subject to change. So we're presenting, as we are today, presenting it to you, and then followed by the commission meeting on May 13th, if approved, to go forward. We would kick off our bond call with all the underwriters and the underwriting team. The goal would be to price the first week in July, with the target to close by towards the third week in July. The reason we're doing this timing is twofold. We do not receive the next issuance of McCaff money, if it's approved by the county council, till August 1st. So we're timing this so that we'll have our funds available to coincide with when we receive the funds for the McCaff down payment program.
What does McCaff stand for?
Montgomery County Housing Assistance Fund. So what it does is it provides a down payment of up to $25,000 per household to support the purchase of a home.
Thank you.
And then if we go to the next slide, please. So as
And
you
just
see,
for Jonathan, I learned that the issuance of our mortgages is highly correlated to the availability of those funds. So,
Makes sense.
yeah.
so to just give you an idea of that, where we are through end of March, we've issued approximately 84 MPP loans, 79 which use the McCaff program. 4 used are what is called the revolving close and cost assistance program, and 1 using our 3% purchase assisted program. So that totals approximately $22 million under the MPP program for first-time home buyer. And then a large portion of the remainder was supporting our mortgage-backed security purchases for residents of eligible loans inside Montgomery County. So next slide, please. So just to kind of hit the budget and fiscal impact, there is none. All costs related to the issuance of the bonds are paid through the actual issuance itself, so there's no direct budgetary impact. So what we're going to be asking, staff is asking, is the following elements: approval of the structure and issuance of these bonds under the 1979 resolution in an amount of $30 million, but not to exceed $35 million if depending on interest rates. Approval to allocate $20 million of our private activity volume cap to complete the transaction as proposed. Approval of our cost of issuance budget of $560,000 based on a $30 million bond issuance. Approval for the president and executive director to increase the bond issuance to a size up to $35 million to take advantage of favorable interest rate environment if that occurs, and a commensurate increase in the cost of issuance up to $610,000. And adoption of 1 or more series resolutions authorizing the issuance of the bonds, and adoption of a resolution to temporarily increase the bond refunding cap under the PNC line from $5 million to $7 million. And that concludes my presentation. I'm open to any questions at this time.
I don't have any questions. I'll just note that I guess we're not voting on a resolution, so it doesn't matter, but just that the presentation has the old numbers. So
Correct.
It says up to 30 million and 560,000. So, but we're being asked to approve up to 35 million and a budget of up to 610,000. Okay.
Right, so can we go through the numbers again? I mean, so can you, since the presentation we got is different, can you just tell me again, what's the replacement refunding, what's the new money, what's
So-
taxable, what's non-taxable?
So the refunding amount will stay constant at about $5.5 million. The bonds that would be issued under our tax-exempt volume cap will remain constant under both scenarios, 30 or 35 million at 20 million.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. So there's tax exempt
Correct,
and then there's taxable.
taxable, correct.
Okay,
Michael, let
so
me take
what's the,
that.
what's the
Let me
tax?
take that.
I'm sorry?
I'll respond. So the amount of the replacement refunding, as Michael said, is unchanged at 5.5 million.
Okay,
The amount of the volume cap for new money remains unchanged on either scenario at 20 million. And so
unchanged from what? I'm not sure. I'm looking at the chart on page.
under either scenario, under the $30 million issuance or the $35 million issuance.
Oh, all right.
So that's new tax exempt money, that bonds that would be issued under either scenario, whether we issue 35 million or 30 million,
And what's that number?
20 million.
20
So that's
million.
volume cap that we would allocate to issue new tax exempt bonds. So we would be recycling 5.5 million under either scenario and issuing new tax exempt bonds under either scenario. And the only thing that would change, as Michael explained, based on what's happening in the financial markets and how interest rates change, would be the taxable amount. And it would be 4.5 million under the $30 million issuance to give us a total of 30 million,
30 million, right.
sorry. And it would be 9.5 million under the $35 million issuance.
Thank you.
And so we'll update, just to
Thank
make clear.
Are there any other questions?
Nope.
If not, is there a motion to support the staff's recommendation as discussed? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion is approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
If there are no other items for the agenda, we don't have a closed session, right? No, okay. Then this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Live stream has ended.